So welcome back. I have used the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 for the past 2 weeks now, and I'm ready to give my thoughts and opinions on this one. And this being my first ever foldable phone, I have to say that I'm pretty impressed by what Samsung has done with the foldable series, whether it be the Flip 4 or whether it be the Fold 4. And especially daily driving the Fold 4 for the past 2 weeks, it has been an amazing experience. Definitely using social media, watching YouTube, Disney Plus, Netflix on this ginormous big screen has been a delight, and this is an amazing phone for consuming any form of content. The front display I've primarily been using for checking up my notifications, replying to text messages, and it is a bit easier to do that on this one compared to the Fold 3 because it is a bit wider, not by much, just by tiny bit, but that does matter. And the bigger screen, I tend to use social media on as well. So Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, stuff like that. I tend to use it on the bigger screen. The front screen is only for if I need to respond to a message, whether it be on social media or text message instantly. It's for that. And if I really want to immerse myself in a better experience for social media or watching content, then the bigger screen right here is definitely the go. The fingerprint scanner on the Fold 4 is pretty good. It's snappy, it's fast, it's better than the Nothing phone I had before. But yeah, obviously the Nothing phone is a mid-range phone, but I've been pretty happy with the fingerprint scanner on the Samsung Z Fold 4. And I used to have other Samsung phones in the past, and definitely I can say now it has been like very much improved. I also noticed that the in-display fingerprint scanner compared to a physical button scanner that you can find in the Z Fold 4. The Z Fold 4 obviously is fast, reliable, and better. And I can say that, like this phone is amazingly good. The one thing that I would recommend people who have this phone is get the screen protector for the front display because you're going to need it. Especially a phone as expensive as this, it's worth saving your investment. It's better to protect it. And the one that I have here is the one that I got from Samsung store, which is not really a tempered glass, but this is like a plastic film protection, which obviously protects from light scratches and whatnot. When you're putting it in your pocket, you would obviously have sometimes maybe the keys or something like that. So it's going to protect from that. The case I have on this one is from Samsung as well, but this is a swappable case, which I've showed in my previous video, which this back one, you can take it out and swap it for the pen. So you can interchange it. And the camera on this Z Fold 4 is pretty amazing. Samsung cameras are pretty good. It's just that the video quality does not compare or even come close to the iPhones because iPhone's in-app camera video recording is so amazing, so smooth compared to what you get from Samsung, whether it be any Samsung, including the Z Fold 4. But photos, I have been pretty happy with it. In terms of using this and daily driving it, I have noticed that the reception that I get on my main SIM that's currently in this one is not as good as the same SIM card being in the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'm getting much more better reception in the same apartment using the same SIM, but I'm getting much more better reception in iPhone. Not sure what the case with that is, but that's what I experience. Maybe your experience may vary. All in all, this phone is a beast, and I always prefer this phone when I have time to surf Twitter, when I have time to surf the web. I definitely rely on this. I edit photo on this. Obviously, having this pen is amazing. This is the stylus for the Samsung Z Fold 4. This is from Samsung. And editing photo using the pen is a good combo on such a bigger screen. And as I've said before as well, this front display is not for your YouTube consumption, Netflix consumption. In my case, what I have been doing, as I've said already, is texting if I really need to get back to someone or just for purposes of viewing notification. But every time, even if I have to reply someone on text or messages or Instagram messages, I usually open this, instantly unlocks, and then just like start typing my message by going inside the app. But every time like I'm spending inside of this app, it's like this screen is just amazing. So I tend to spend more time on this main display more than the front display. And again, not all the apps are optimized to take the full screen. So when you've got this unfolded like this, you might lose some content because this is 4:3 aspect ratio. And I think this is 23:9:1 or something, but I could be wrong in that. Again, This front display is not really made for your content consumption, for photo editing or stuff like that. You can obviously, like it's for picking up calls. You can definitely use the front to kind of browse through your social media, but once you open this up and start experiencing social media in the big display, it's really hard to go back to this one. At least that's what happened in my case. But all in all, I would give this a solid 8 out of 10. And I think out of all the foldables that's currently out there in the market, Samsung is still at the top. I've heard that the Z Flip is their most sold foldable phone, and apparently Z Flip is also the most preferred foldable phone out there in the market. But I wouldn't, like put this aside. This is a beast of a phone, good for productivity, social media, and everything. It is expensive, so I cannot recommend this to everyone unless you are, trying to get into a plan because your current plan is expired or something like that. Then I would definitely ask you to, maybe it's time for you to delve into the realm of Samsung if you haven't. And if you're already a Samsung user, maybe it's time to go for the Fold if you haven't already. And yeah, again, as I said, if you are looking to get it on a plan, that's the only time I would suggest, because buying this outright would set you back a lot. Now the pre-order sales have gone away, so you have to pay full price of this. So depending on what storage option you get, you might have to pay anywhere from 2,000 Australian dollars to almost 3,000 Australian dollars. So I wouldn't recommend this if you're trying to buy it outright. My experience with the Samsung Z Fold 4 has been amazing. I can't stop using this. I've been using this more than my iPhone 13 Pro Max. As I've mentioned, the only time I use my iPhone 13 Pro Max over this is if I have to take any in-app video, whether it be for Instagram video to record some stories or something like that. That's the only time I prefer my iPhone. But apart from that, using Twitter and using Facebook, using LinkedIn, watching YouTube, watching Disney Plus, Netflix, everything has been on this phone, and this has been beast. The battery life in this has lasted me well over a day, and I've been using this a lot. I get a lot of emails on this, a lot of notifications on this. Brightness is at full, and still I have been unable to kill this in a day. Every day I'm ending it with like I think 15%, if not 12% battery life, and on a light day I'm still ending it on like 40 to 58% battery. Yesterday was a light day for me, so I ended up at like 58%, and while I was on the bed I was like browsing YouTube and it dropped down to like 30 or something after few hours of YouTube use and social media scrolling. But yeah, it has been amazing. The battery life is extremely good, and now I can finally say that Samsung has done something right with the battery, because in the past when I was a Samsung user, my phones would always die and they would always say that they improved the battery life on this new model, but it was always the same. But with the Z Fold 4, I can definitely say that the battery life is amazing, and I have not been able to kill it in a day. Maybe your usage may vary with mine, but in my experience, that was the case. I'll leave it at that, and until next time, peace.